Welcome to episode 17 of the Hoop Threads podcast, a very special podcast today with Maurice Kearney Associate Head Coach of Cortland Men's Basketball. Mo, how's it going?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man, it's good to get back to my Red Dragon roots. I've spoken to so many Cortland alumni this week. First off, shout out to EDL Design. Had to rock the hoodie today. So my first question is gonna be kind of out of left field. Real GM has a 2014 NBA draft profile for you. Did you declare for the draft?
I wish.
I was like, I know it's a long shot.
I could, if I was a lottery pick, if they got me going top 5, maybe.
All right, so tell us about your love for the game of basketball, how it was cultivated. Let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't even know, but Aaron, I actually started playing like organized basketball, referee, rules and everything, 10th grade. So I was a real late bloomer. Growing up, I have an older brother who's about 3 years older than I am. He played it all growing up, football, basketball, played lacrosse in high school. So, I was always around sports. I played in the park within the neighborhoods. I played in, a couple of street tournaments here and there. But, really, really like getting into it and starting to understand the game and figure some things out was 10th grade. I'm not going to lie. I was a little knucklehead growing up. So, I kind of rather be out in the streets running around than in the gym playing basketball. But 10th grade, I had a lot of my friends was like, yo, you got to try out. You got to try out for basketball. Let's play basketball. And I, JV in 10th grade, and the rest was history. So I was a real late bloomer. Didn't start AAU till summer, going into 11th grade. So, but it was 10th grade where they got it to me. And my older brother was probably a really big part of that one.
Got you. And you play football too, right? Was that your main sport?
Yeah. So football and basketball was all 10th grade. Yeah, football and basketball. And actually my best friend, Terry Curry, rest in peace. He's the one who got me to started playing football. And my first year of football, I actually got moved up to varsity, I think my second day of practice. So I was pretty good. I was a physical player. I was quick. And then I actually played lacrosse organized before both of those sports. So I played lacrosse in 8th grade. Starting 8th grade, I played lacrosse all the way up and throughout high school.
Awesome. We'll get to the amenities and the program history later, but why did you choose Cortland coming out of high school? Like, what were your top options? What was your relationship like with the staff? Kind of go through that.
Yeah. Really, to be honest, red's my favorite color. So that was like, sold it. No, but, so for me, it was kind of like, and I tell people I'm a first generation person in my family to go to college. So, college was never really, I don't want to say talked about in my household, but, it didn't really come up too often. So my high school coach, Tom Diana, who's a legend, he kind of always talked about it, brought it up, college, what's going on? And then before I'm a senior and I'm like, damn, like, am I going to Nassau Community College, which was up the road for me? Am I going to go to a trade school? Am I just going to go work? Like what's going on? So he was like, plain and simple. He was like, hey, Mo, you're great with kids. You've worked my camp every summer, basketball camp. Shout out to all Long Island basketball camp. He said, you work my camp every summer. You're great with kids. I see you in my PE class. You should be a PE teacher. Just think about what I do. Just think about that. You doing that for the rest of your life. And I was like, oh, okay. So he said, all right, plain and simple, break it down. I think you should do PE. I said, I'll do it. He said, you have 3 opportunities or 3 options. I could reach out to 3 different schools. Springfield and Massachusetts, really, really good physical education school. They kind of were out of the picture from the get-go because I knew single mother, I was not going to be able to afford leaving New York to go to school. So then it came out of Cortland and Brockport. Those were the 2. Like phys ed, when you hear phys ed in New York, you think of Cortland, you think of Brockport.
Yep.
He told me to go home and do my research. Obviously, as a 18-year-old kid, I did not go home and do my research. The first thing I did was I had some buddies that were at Cortland. Aljo, who's actually Dana White just confirmed him that he'll be fighting for the belt coming up soon.
Aljamain Sterling.
Aljamain Sterling, yeah, who's who's basically, I think, the best bantamweight, you know, in UFC right now. He was at Cortland Wrestling, as well as his brother Troy, and then one of their best friends, Andre Berry, who I played football with. So the first thing I did was I text those guys, hey, I'm looking at Cortland, how's Cortland? Tell me a little bit about it. And they said, yo, this place is awesome. It's not too far away from home. You can still get back to Long Island. This place is great. And they were all PE majors, so it kind of made it easy. And to kind of keep it a little bit short, but with Cortland, so in my PE department in high school, I think I had 5 PE teachers. Coach Godoy, who was our wrestling and football coach, he's a Cortland grad. Coach Capola, who was a lacrosse and football, he was a Cortland grad. Coach Davrin, who was our swimming coach, was a Cortland grad. So basically 3 out of the 5 in my department were all Cortland grads. So I've always heard stories about quads and Corey Union and this and that and Cortica. And, you know, so once they found out I was interested in Cortland, oh man, they pushed Cortland right away, right away. So that made it easy. And then regarding like basketball and the process and recruiting and kind of, you know, what really led me to make that decision, you know, it was really Serge, you know, Serge Clement. Shout out to Serge. I mean, he's a big, I would say like a big brother, big father figure to me. I mean, he was a huge reason why I think I am who I am today and how I got to Cortland. My coach reached out to the staff. Serge got back to him. I connected with Serge, and the rest was history. I mean, he helped me get into an EOP program, which is an educational opportunity program that helps students that don't have the original grades or meet the requirements, the traditional requirements to get into college, and may need some financial assistance. So, I mean, Serge helped me with everything. My mother, she basically somewhat had no idea what was going on. Like, I'd ask her to sign a paper here and there. But other than that, no, Serge, I mean, he helped me through the whole financial aid process. We talked at least 2-3 times a week. He came to, I believe, 2 scrimmages and about either 1 or 2 games of mine. And then once I got into the program, I said, listen, I'm coming to Cortland. And I never visited Cortland, Aaron. Never came up here for a visit at all. And then obviously back then, Instagram really wasn't a thing. So it's not like I can go on social media and see, you know, what's going on.
Yeah.
So, you know, I built relationship with Serge, and having all of those PE teachers and other teachers in my school kind of really sold the deal. And then obviously red being my favorite color. That really, you know, that's the top one right there.
Yeah, you dress a lot better than I do. I would my coming to Cortland was pretty much the same. I mean, I went to JUCO, and then I was going into I was trying to get into UNC, our dream school, and it didn't, and I appealed the decision, and that pushed the process back further. I didn't really have any grounds to appeal because there's no academic, like they didn't mess nothing up. They're like, you just didn't get in.
Right.
So I got accepted to all of my all the state schools I'd applied to: Brockport, Cortland, Stony Brook, and then I think there was Oswego or something like that. And when I kind of immediately eliminated Long Island for the same reason that you Stony Brook, for the same reason you didn't want to go to Massachusetts. I'm like, my mom can't pay for this.
No,
I definitely can't pay for this. So I went and visited Cortland, and it was funny because the tour guide, it had just snowed, and it was like it was finally a nice day. And she was trying to play down the New York weather, and I was like, "Ma'am, I'm from Rochester. Like,
I'm used to this. This
is really mild." And we're walking through campus, and I like the feel of it. And then all the classes let out, and like immediately everyone comes out of the buildings, and everyone's wearing hoodies and like sweats, and like, "Yo, these are my people."
Telling me I don't have to get up, iron jeans, and a t-shirt to go to class.
Yeah, and I actually got really lucky too. I want to shout out the Leadership House because I lived in the Leadership House on campus. Because everything was so last minute for me, I got my acceptance letter and the information for the dorms the day of the deadline for the dorms. And I was working basketball camps, so I didn't even have time to fill it out.
Yep.
So I threw my name in there, and they were like, "Well, we'll try. It's really late in the process." And so when me and my mom went on the visit, we were in the academic office, and one of the RAs that, you know, had led us around was, you know, you should look into the Leadership House. And it's this house like right in the middle of campus, right up the hill from Newbig, everyone's favorite dining hall. And I had my own kitchen, you know, my own room, laundry room, all that. It was cheaper than any of the housing on campus, and I think I didn't have to pay for a meal plan, which also saved us like $2,000. And
That's
I was
perfect.
very interested in that.
And you were neighbor to the cemetery. Like, it doesn't get any better.
Yeah, who doesn't want to do that? I was a professional writing major, so it wasn't that far from Old Main too, which was
Yeah.
perfect. So
Yeah.
I found out later that one of the guys in my PWR program and his girlfriend were supposed to live there, and they backed out last minute, and so that spot was open for me.
Things work in mysterious ways, man.
Yeah,
really.
man. So that was really helpful, for sure. So let's get to the basketball part. So my memory of you was that you were always clapping and always loud during conditioning and anything. And you're communicating everything defensively, which I really liked because I'm more of a defensive-minded guy. And I was talking to Bonomo and some of the other guys, and once they said it, I was like, yeah, that is definitely accurate. A forearm shiver on every cutter, and I think Bonomo said it best. If you didn't pay attention, you'd send dudes flying with box outs.
Yeah, that's
So, speaking of your teammates, one of your teammates said, I got to ask you about the time that you were late to practice as a freshman and coach made the team run until you got there.
yeah, that was like welcome to Cortland. So I'm trying to think. I don't know, was it winter session? It might have been winter session.
Okay.
I forget when it was, at what portion of the season, but it was definitely early on. It was one of those times, and it's funny now because I've been on staff here going on 7 years, so I've heard players tell me over the years, I meant to put AM and it was PM. And so I'm going to be honest, Aaron, when I get that excuse, I'm a little bit more lenient because it happened to me. So we had an early morning practice, and, I think it was like a 8 a.m. practice or something like that, maybe 7. And I was in a dorm. It was definitely winter session because I was in a room by myself because my roommate played football. He wasn't there. And my alarm, it just did not go off. I mean, it didn't go off for some reason. And I woke up, and you wake up and you're like, oh shit, wait, what time is it? And I looked down, I had, X amount of missed calls and text messages. So, it was wintertime because I remember I wasted no time. I got up, I sprinted down to Park Center, went in the locker room, got dressed. And it's like, when you're growing up and if you get in trouble at school, or if you get, that walk to home, that your front door is like, it takes forever. That's how it was for me going into the gym. It was like, I'm late. I don't know how Coach Spanbauer is going to react. I'm a freshman. Like, what's going on here? And I get in the gym and everyone's running. Everyone's running around the gym, right? So as soon as I get in the gym, all heads turn and they looked at me. And no lie, Aaron, I kid you not, the first thing that went in my mind was I pulled up my shorts, I tightened them. I said, all right, I'm definitely going to fight at least 2 or 3 of my teammates today. Because they just had that look. They had the look like, this freshman, he came late. I guess Coach Spanbauer made them run until I got there. So I don't know how long they were running for or how many laps they did, but for the most part, a lot of guys had that look in their eye, like, all right, he's got to get it. So I was ready. I owned up to it. I said my apologies, but anything that came my way that day or that week, best believe I was ready. I was prepared. But that was a scary time for me.
Yeah, we've all had that moment. So on good memories, Frank, I was talking to Big Frank, and he said my Cortland alumni, by the way, I think he graduated in the 90s or early 2000s. I can't remember. He gonna get mad at me for not knowing that. But anyway,
Frank the OG.
He said he's definitely the OG of Cortland basketball. So he said my first vision of Mo, like seeing him when I watched him play, regardless of what he did, whether if he got a bucket or not, like he's like, man, the kid was tough. I was just impressed with his high motor and passion. He's going to be all right. Whether he played a lot or a little, his energy never stopped. And this last part was important to me. He said whenever he stepped on the court, the energy just changed and guys just followed. Like from day one, from freshman year. He said that's how good programs are built with a guy like that. Like, thinking all the time, I'm not going to be outworked. And, he's still like that as a coach. So talk about your game as a player.
All right, so I'll talk about my game before or after I'm done, because I get buckets now. I always tell people, if I could, my skill set now as a 28-year-old, if I could play like how I play now back then, I've been the perfect 4-man for Span, because I still go even post Achilles surgery. But I mean, my game really, again, being a late bloomer, really starting to play in 10th grade, like organized and learning the game. I was always a tough kid. Like, again, my older brother was always, a tough player, and he played all sports. So we used to get into it, and, family members and things like that. So I was always tough, and I was always, I always learned to be tough. Anything you do it at 100%. And then I think really my game in Cortland over my playing careers is a huge testament to my high school coach, Tom Diana. He was a real big defense guy. I mean, Aaron, if teams scored like 36 points on us in high school, we had to run. I mean, we were holding teams to like 32 points, 29 points. We were really, really good, but it started defense. I mean, shell every day. So, it was like in high school, if you didn't talk, if you didn't communicate, if you didn't jump to the line, if you didn't box out, like, you're going to the stairs. So by the time I got to Cortland, that's all I knew. I just knew, like, I'm in help side. I'm calling out screens. If you're cutting through the lane, there's no free cuts. Like, you're getting a forearm to your chest. That's what I was taught in high school. So it was easy for me to bring that transition to college. And I ran a whole lot in high school, so I was always conditioned and kind of ready to go. So, I mean, really, my game as a player, I think I was a tough, gritty, big communicator, a lot of energy. I'm a competitor. I always wanted to guard the best player, point guard through center, and I'm only 6'4.5" on a good day. So, and I really thought that, and I was always told that successful teams need guys like this. No matter what you're doing offensively, whatever, energy is contagious. It wears off on people, and if you can bring that energy and that toughness and that grit every single day and every single time you step on the court, then you'll always have a chance to win. And that's just kind of something that I've stuck with and I've ran with. So, again, I wasn't a big offensive guy. And that was probably due to my confidence level, because I did work on my game, but I'm a lot better offensively now. But really, defense was my thing. Energy, communicating, toughness, bringing that grit to the game. That was really who I was and who I still am as a player.
For sure. Yeah. I just wanted to tell a story real quick that I heard your freshman year at Buff State, that one of your teammates brought up, to speak to your character. He's like, hostile environment, a lot of city kids. The gym was loud, and he said, they were calling Bonomo Justin Bieber, which is hilarious because it's accurate. I love Bonomo, but at the time, he had that floppy hair. But anyways, I was told that you turned to the crowd and went off in no uncertain terms, let them know that you were not okay with that, and you shut them up because they were going after a teammate, and that spoke volumes to your leadership. I mean, even as a freshman, like your teammate was like, "Yo, this kid is a freshman. Like, like chill, but also like, thank you. Like, we respect that." So talk about the Red Dragon family.
Yeah, so the Red Dragon family is huge, man. I mean, I bleed red and white. We're I don't like to say brotherhood because, as both of us are, we're big UNC guys and quote unquote the brotherhood. So
you're not letting them have that. Nah.
Yeah, I don't really throw that word out there a lot, but that's really what it is. So just to kind of go back to that, I mean, we're at Buff State. In my freshman year, we were not good. We were young. So we played, Buff State was the 1 seed, I believe. We were the 10th seed or 8th seed. I don't know. We were the last place team in the league. So really for us, it was like, we're going into Buff State. They were really good. They went to the Sweet 16 that year, maybe the Elite 8. And I'm talking about hostile arena. Like, this thing was packed out, and Justin Bieber. And we were losing. Like, they were probably on like a 8-0 run or 10-0 run. I don't know. And I remember I just turned to the crowd and I let them have it, like half court. And they all was like, like looked at me like, and then I kind of got into it with one of their best players, and we got texts and benches cleared. And then that just sent the message. We went on like a 15-0 run. Like, it was awesome. But no, that's just a testament to what we are as brothers, man. Once you put on that jersey, once you step on that court, once you are a part of that program, whether you finish 4 years or you leave early or whatever, you're really a part of the Cortland family. I have my family, the Kearney family and all that, like real family. But, you know, if you throw in the Cortland family, I mean, my family's huge. It's huge. And I talk to my guys, you know, we're real brothers, you know, and that's just a testament to what the culture is here at Cortland. And again, once you join our program, you're part of our program. Anything you need, any assistance, I mean, any way anyone can help you, you know, you're going to get that help, whether it's from someone that graduated 2 years ago or someone that played in the 70s. I mean, and that's how far it goes back. So that's just that, and it's awesome to be a part of. It really is. It makes my job a lot easier. And it just makes me very, very prideful of kind of where, you know, I work and kind of where I came through.
Got you. So just to give the people an idea, you know, you played in 82 games over your career, 51 as a starter over 4 years. You were captain for 2 seasons as a sophomore, which is not normal. And as a senior, 2012 Upstate New York ECAC champs, 2013 SUNYAC regular season and tournament champs, and you played in the NCAA tournament, which we'll get to in a minute. But Span had this to say about you. And this is something I heard from pretty much everyone I talked to. He said he's been a total team player throughout his whole career, starter to coming off the bench to limited minutes. His ability to sacrifice never wavered in all these roles as a player. He has the knowledge and is just 100% committed to what we do. Talk about the importance of knowing and playing your role, even if the playing time at the time isn't what it normally is or what you want it to be.
Yeah, I think, you know, I kind of mentioned it earlier about every team kind of needing someone, not to say, you know, every team needs a Mo, but like someone that's going to kind of bring it on a consistent basis every single day, every time they step on the court. You know, it's real big in our program. You know, we have a lot of posted notices throughout the season that goes up on the wall that our guys have to read and kind of digest. But it really comes down to knowing your role and excelling in your role, because it's one thing to kind of know your role, right? You're a starter, you're a bench guy. This is what you do, but that's not it. You have to excel in that role in order for the team to be successful. And that's really important. I mean, for us, you know, a team is like a fine-tuned oil machine. Like if one part of the machine isn't clicking right, then the machine doesn't run smoothly. And that's just how it goes. So, you know, if you want to take me as an example, you know, I was never satisfied in my role. That's one thing I don't know if people understand. Like, you know, my role changed throughout my career where I started every game, or I came off the bench as like a setup guy and then never played again, or I'll start the second half, or, you know, whatever my situation was, I was never satisfied. Like I was still getting up at 6 a.m., coming to the gym, working out. I was still staying late after practices, working out. I was still getting in the film with the coaches. So, you know, even though my role was quote unquote solidified as, you know, either I was a setup guy or, you know, an energy guy or whatever I was doing, I always stayed hungry. And I think every team, or you look at any successful team, whether it's basketball, football, any team, any office, corporate, you know, you got to know your role and you got to excel in that role in order for that team to be successful.
Yep. So let's talk about one of those successful teams. So my first year at Cortland, my junior year was a special year for SUNY Cortland men's basketball. You were on the winningest team in Cortland history. 3 of the top 10 scorers in Cortland history. Jesse Winters at number 1, Jeremy Smith at 7, and Big Kev McMahon at number 10. 5 guys averaged double figures. Talk about that year. Talk about the motivation you had based on the results of the last season and all the preparation that went into it.
Man, so we were the Warriors before the Warriors. No, and I say that because if you look at Golden State, you know, they got, you know, 4, 5, 6 guys in double figures. They're moving the ball, they're sharing the ball. But, you know, we'll kind of get into that. But so that team was special, man. And everyone on that team, those are my guys. Those are my brothers. I love them to death. That was a special year. But that year didn't start that year. That year really started, I mean, even before I got to Cortland. So, you know, Jesse, Harry, Jeremy, Dan Sternkoff, like those guys were freshmen 2009, 2010. And when I came to Cortland for the 2010, 2011 season, my freshman year, those guys were sophomores. So I already mentioned, you know, we weren't good my freshman year. We took our bumps and bruises. We were a very young team. We had a senior who was an all-SUNYAC player, quit on us halfway through the year. So again, we took it on the chin every single night, but we never wavered as a team. We brought it every single day. Going into that summer, a lot of us were from downstate Long Island. I mean, we played in Island Garden together in men's leagues. We kind of really built that relationship on and off the court. And we kind of knew that we had a special group moving forward as long as everyone did their part. Heading into, my sophomore year, their junior year, we were pretty good. I think we might have won close to 21 games and still didn't get a bid in the tournament. We lost in the SUNYAC Championship to Oswego the year before we won it all. So, we were really, really good that year as well. And it was a testament to us staying together and not, hitting adversity and kind of going separate ways. Yeah. We won the ECAC Upstate Championship that year. So it still was a special year. Now going into, 2012, 2013, my junior year, Jesse and those guys' senior year, right off the bat, man, we ended the previous year saying like, listen, fellas, it's ours next year. I mean, it's really up to us. We have every single portion. We have every key. We have everything we need as an ingredient to be a championship team right here in our program. It's ours for the taking. So, I mean, that summer we worked our asses off. I mean, we got in the gym, we grinded. We all communicated in group chats. We kind of stayed close. We were able to add another key portion to that team, Lamar Heron, who was one of my closest friends growing up. We actually went to elementary school together. And he was at SUNY New Paltz, and he pointed out at New Paltz, and I said, listen, you need to come be a Red Dragon. Contacted Span, he came up, and the rest was history. So Lamar Heron,
recruiting there.
No, he was a real big piece of that because, I mean, he was, if people thought I was like a really good defender, he was a lockup guy. So he was a kind of a 6th, 7th man for us off the bench. But going into that year, I mean, preseason, we brought it every single day in the weight room and runs and pickup. And then heading into October 15th, once we can start, from day one, it was like we left off basically from the end of last year's season. I mean, we picked up and we were grinding. And that was just a really, really, really good year. We went to Daytona Beach and played a D2 team, NAI team in the championship, lost in overtime. Like, we were a really, really, really good team that year. And again, I talked about the Warriors because we were unselfish. We actually defended. We shot the three really well. Jesse Winter kind of spearheading that team as our point guard, our leader. But everyone, I think, was like a leader, had a leadership role throughout the season and kind of played a really big part. Whether you were a starter, like Jesse, Kevin, Jeremy, or if you were kind of a bench guy. Like that year, I didn't really play too many games. I think I had a lot of like DNPs. But I brought it in practice, like, I mean, every single day. Because we needed the bench guys. We needed that third team to kind of keep those guys going. So that was a special group, man. And I would never, ever, ever forget that 2012, 2013 season or team.
Absolutely. I'm going to share another story from Big Frank about playing for Span, because I think it's just a great it's just a great story about Span. So Big Frank transferred into Cortland from Framingham State, I believe, and they went to a tournament in Rochester and they lost in the finals. And he said he fouled out in one or two of the games, and he had a lot of foul trouble in the other game. And the next day in practice, Span was whistling him for everything. He said, I'm a young dude from the city, and this dude is just yelling at me nonstop. And he's like, I was putting up big numbers. Like, what's the problem? And eventually Span just stopped blowing the whistle and just kicked him out of practice. And so he was obviously not, Frank, you don't want to make that man mad. So I don't know how Span did that. But anyway, the next day, Frank saw Span in the hallway. He's like, hey, Frank, how you doing? And, Frank wasn't really trying to have that conversation. And Span was like, come upstairs, let's talk. And, he said, what I did yesterday, this is to show you this program is about more than just you. When you're out there reaching, fouling, you're doing things for yourself. If you're going to commit to this team, it's not just about you. It's about us being successful. And he's like, I got it. He's like, at the time I didn't really get it. And right after that, Span was like, oh yeah, by the way, you're playing on the third team today. Frank was like, woo, I was mad. But he said, I rallied the guys around me. And so for 2 or 3 days in a row, when I was on that third team lost one game. And he's like, at that point, I got it. And that's always stuck with me. I mean, shoot, that's at least 20 years later. And he remembered that story, you know, pretty much word for word. And Frank said at the end of it, he said, you know, I tell people all the time, I take every little ache, pain, scratch, whatever, to do it again for 4 years. So Span is the winningest coach in Cortland history with, you know, by winning percentage and career wins. And he's been there, you know, 24 years, I think. What's his secret?
Yeah. So 25 years, you know, Coach Spanbauer has been spearheading this program. And, you know, the secret is, and I'm being honest with you, it's we over me. You know, that's something that was kind of put together before I got to Cortland. Actually, Jesse Winter, I think he actually created. We used to have some graphics, we over me and things of that nature, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You're never bigger than a program. You know, I don't care how good of a player you are, how good you were in high school, how good you think you are, how good you're doing at Cortland. You will never, ever be bigger than a program. And I was taught that from day one. You know, he always preached that. And that never wavered. Like, I'm talking 25 years, never wavering. And people know he'll never put anybody over the program. When you put on that Cortland practice jersey, that Cortland uniform, you're not only representing yourself, you're representing the program, you're representing, you know, former Red Dragons, you're representing future Red Dragons, you're representing President Bitterbaum, you're representing Mike Ertz, you're representing everybody that's kind of been a part of our campus or have given you the opportunity to play college basketball within our program. So, you know, I think that's really why he's been successful and why he's had so many successes or successful teams throughout his 25 years. But, I mean, people don't know this. I mean, Span and I mean, we're pretty cool, right? So I've known him for 10 years, going on 7 years on his staff. So we have a really good relationship. And he told me, I mean, a couple of years ago, he said, Mo, when I took over this program, it was not nearly close to where it is now, culture-wise, right? Not saying like talent level or anything of that nature, but I'm talking about culture-wise. So it took a while. He took some bumps and bruises and some guys quitting and things of that nature to kind of really get the culture to where it is now and to that we over me. Listen, you got to buy in. You got to believe in the process and understand that, you know, whatever you do as an individual, it can affect the whole group. And I think that's why he's really been so successful. Aaron, I'll tell you a real quick story about like how we over me is like real talk. Yeah. So my freshman year, it was my freshman year. We brought in two first team JUCO All-Americans. I won't mention their names, but we brought in two JUCO All-Americans. I mean, these kids were nice. I was a freshman. I'm like, yo, these kids can play, man. One of the kids, you know, coming in, he said, well, this is a Division III program. You know, I'm a JUCO All-American. He actually played. He was an older guy. He played with Sebastian Telfair, I believe, at Lincoln, right? So he was really good. I mean, but this kid didn't go to lifts. He didn't really come to pick up. And, you know, October 15th, we have our fitness test. You know, you got to do 15 suicides. Yeah, you probably still
I remember that.
Still having nightmares about it. But no, so you got to do the 15 suicides and, you know, and time. And this kid was jogging. Like, he's like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm a first team JUCO All-American coming here. Like, I'm, you know.
Yeah.
Span's like, you're not what? See ya. Like, we didn't even get to we didn't even bring out basketballs yet. See ya. First team JUCO All-American, was supposed to come be an all-league player. Adios. So this kid never even got to really practice yet. And that's just a testament to we over me. You're never, ever, ever bigger than the program. And I think that's why he's kind of been able to be successful over 25 years. But, you know, it all starts with the locker room and the mentality of the guys. And then obviously the talent level.
Yeah. And we'll kind of get to this next part real quick before moving on to recruiting. You know, we're finishing up your phys ed degree, and I read that you had an offer to kind of rush your graduation, finish up the classwork, and take a job as out of state as a football and basketball coach. But you chose to stay, you know, finish your degree, join the staff, and you had some early success as an assistant. So talk about that decision to stay and how it's played out really well.
Yeah. So, you know, we always talk about like connections, right? You know, if you're a good person, if you're a genuine guy, good things will happen to you and people will notice. And, you know, so Coach Spanbauer, I don't know if he was an alum or not, but he had a guy, and a lot of my family's from North Carolina. I love UNC, obviously, but
Great.
so he actually had a guy reach out to him and said, we got a phys ed job opening up. We're looking for someone to come in, coach football, help out with basketball, do high school PE. And the first person Coach Span thought of was me. So he brought me in the office. He said, I got a guy, he wants you to come. Literally, we're giving you the job. I think at that point, it was my senior. So I did 5 years. I did basically 4.5 years, 5 years to graduate. So I really wasn't ready to graduate. They said, listen, you can come down there. You can still finish. Basically, you can just move to North Carolina tomorrow, take this job, start your career early, and get going. But, I really didn't feel like I was really ready yet. I know we'll get into it later on, but, at that time I was in a real, deep relationship with my wife now, and things weren't just really, I wasn't really to make that commitment to move, even though, I love UNC. That's where my family's from. It would have been a great opportunity for me, but I didn't feel like I was ready yet. So, I was able to kind of finish up my degree. Coach Spanbauer, the man who he is, he was able to give me an independent studies with the team for 3 credits because I only needed to take 3 more classes. But in order to receive financial aid, I needed to have 12 credits. So, he was able to get me work his magic and get me a 3-credit independent studies as a student assistant with the team in the fall. And I was a part of everything from coaches meetings to helping recruit to practicing and drills. And then I got a taste. I really got the itch because I always thought I wanted to be a high school basketball coach, try to win some state championships and coach PE. So I got the itch doing that. And then even after I did my student teaching in the spring, I used to go student teach, drive 40 minutes back to campus, go to practice and coach. And then after that, it was basically what's next? What are you going to do? I actually applied to a graduate assistantship for sport management at Adelphi University because I thought I was going to go back home to Long Island. My wife, Lindsay, now, she made a decision that she was going to stay in Cortland and get her master's. For me, as a first-generation student, it took me 5 years to graduate. I wasn't thinking about master's. I'm like, I just graduated. I'm trying to go back to Long Island. I'm trying to go home. So I actually made the decision to stay. I contacted Coach Spanbauer. I set up a meeting. I said, listen, Coach, I really got the itch this past year as being a student assistant and kind of being a part of the game and all facets of the game and aspects. I want to hop on your staff moving forward for next year. He said, listen, man, we already got, we got the assistant spots already fulfilled. There's no money for you. I said, I don't care about the money. I put a lot of time and blood, sweat, and tears into this program. I want to give back. I want to be a part of this culture. Whatever I can do, I don't care about the money. So, I was able to kind of get a part-time job in admissions. Shout out to my guy, Carmen Wingard, who was my assistant coach my freshman year. And it just goes to show you, right? If I was a knucklehead and if I wasn't who I was my freshman year, I wouldn't be where I am today because if I didn't take care of business, Carmen wouldn't have reached out to me about a part-time job in admissions, right? Yeah. So that's how I was able to make some money and coach without getting any money my first time on the staff officially. So Span was like, if you want to do it, you can do it, but there's no money. I said, I don't care. This is, I'm very prideful. I'm very thankful of what Cortland have done for me. This is my opportunity to give back. So, my first year, we actually didn't make the playoffs. That was 2014, 2015. We missed the playoffs that first year. And we were actually we were about 17. I think we won about 17, almost 18 games. The SUNYAC was real tough that year.
Yeah.
We didn't make the playoffs. We were 1 game away from making the playoffs. So then I kind of, started to learn the ins and outs of, all right, this is what I got to do. This is my role. How can I contribute to the team on the staff? And then that next year, 2015, 2016, we had a real special team. And we were able to make a run and go ahead and win the SUNYAC Championship up in Plattsburgh against Oswego. So that was awesome.
Absolutely. Let's go to recruiting. What are you looking for in a Red Dragon?
When people think of Dragons, right, you're thinking fierce. I'm looking for a fierce competitor, right? I know Coach Spanbauer. I know what he's looking for in a player, and I'm very thankful that he allows myself as well as other assistants to kind of really take recruiting full on and kind of give us that responsibility. So, we're really looking for players who are going to come in and compete, who's going to come in and look for no excuses, who's going to hit some adversity, but still keep it going. you know, at the Division III level, and I still hate the fact that we can't work with our guys over the summer or even in the fall to a certain extent. But, you know, for us, October 15th is the first day we can actually get in the gym with our guys. So, you know, I'm looking for self-starters, or we're looking for self-starters. Like, you know, we need guys that are going to come to our campus and get in the gym, you know, without having a coach get in the gym. You know, we're looking for guys that are going to be outside running. We're looking for guys that are going to hit the weight room 3-4 times a week without us being, you know, watching over their back. So, you know, really someone who's going to come compete, you know, gritty, and really take no for an answer. So, or doesn't take no for an answer. So, but also good people. Like, our program is full of really, really good, genuine people. You know, our guys are good within the community. They leave our program and go on to do really, really good things. And they represent, you know, Cortland basketball to the fullest extent. So, you know, really fierce competitors, self-starters, guys that can be held accountable, genuine and good people, really. And then also you got to be able to, you know, there's some certain skill sets that you got to be able to bring to the table for us. Obviously, shooting a three is real big in our program. And then you also got to be able to defend the ball and win the shoulder game and keep the ball in front. But that's pretty much it.
Got you. So you're also an admissions advisor at Cortland. Talk about SUNY Cortland as an institution. Like, what's
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, I believe I'm going on my 6th year. It's kind of like things are just kind of moving so fast, right? So I'm actually just got promoted to senior admissions advisor. So within our office, you know, first and foremost, I already shouted out Carmen Wingard, who for giving me the opportunity to kind of get my foot in the higher ed and admissions. But Mark Yakavone, who is our assistant VP of enrollment, and Michael Johnson, who's my supervisor. You know, the fact that they let me be a full-time employee in admissions and also coach basketball, you don't really see that a lot. You know, that you don't see that a lot. So Cortland as a whole, as an institution, I mean, it's a phenomenal place. It's a campus where it's not too big and it's not too small. You know, we have a little bit under 7,000 students total. So, you know, it's large enough where, you know, you won't see the same face every single day, but it's small enough where, you know, there's still some familiarity. You'll still see some faces. Your professors will know who you are. You know, you really get to build those connections and those relationships with faculty and staff on campus. You know, you're talking about an institution where the president of the college may know you by your first name. And you don't see that.
Know you. He will know you by your first name.
He will know you. Like, you don't see that. You don't see that. You know, some people don't know what the president of their college looked like. Some people don't know his name, but, you know, President Bitterbaum, he's awesome. And that's just a testament to our overall institution, because it starts from up top. So, you know, located in Central New York, you know, really 4 to 5 hours away from anywhere. You know, New York City, Long Island, Buffalo, Rochester, Boston, Philadelphia. You can get to almost anywhere because of our location, anywhere from 2.5 to 5 hours. You know, not too far from Syracuse, not too far from Binghamton, right next to Ithaca. But academically, I mean, you know, we're really, really strong academically. I know we're known to be a teacher school. You know, we do have the largest teaching certification programs in SUNY and in the East Coast, but you know, we're also top 10 in the country in sport medicine. You know, students who are interested in sport medicine. We have the longest or oldest sport management program in SUNY. Our sport management program is top notch. Our phys ed program, I always tell people, right, if you're trying to be a lawyer, all right, you're probably trying to get into Harvard Law School. If you're trying to be a PE teacher, you're probably trying to get into Cortland. Like, I'm putting Harvard Law and Cortland PE on the same pedestal, right? So, you know, we're top in New York State, you know, top 5 in the state in communication studies. You know, we have really, really, really good, strong academic programs. So a lot of internship opportunities, a lot of resources for our students to be successful on our campus. One of the highest graduation rates in SUNY. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful campus. I mean, you know, over $300 million invested into our facilities over the last 9 years. So, you know, for what you're going to pay and what you're going to get out of it, I mean, there's, I feel like, you know, for me, obviously I'm biased. There isn't another better place. You know, we've ranked top 5% in the country by Money Magazine as best bang for your buck. We ranked number 1 in the state of New York for job opportunities, best job placement once you leave our campus.
Mm.
99% of our graduates are employed or pursuing a postgraduate degree once they leave our campus. About 2/3 of our students actually receive employment before they even graduate from our campus. So, I mean, you're going to get all the bells and whistles as well as a great education and a great degree. But also you're going to get an opportunity to kind of meet people and build relationships and bonds for the rest of your life. I always tell people, you come to Cortland, it's not a 4-year decision, it's a 40-year decision. And I kind of stole that from Matt Brown over at UNC.
I like that.
Because it's like, it's real. It's real talk, and you're making that decision. Again, obviously you're looking at, cost and academics and sports and things of that nature, but you're going to get a really, really good overall college experience being a part of our campus community.
Yeah, I'm kind of salty that I paid for the Student Life Center for 2 years and then I opened up this after I graduated. I'm a little salty about that. But talk about the athletics program, the reputation, the facilities, the history, the tradition, hosting the NABC clinic, all that.
Yeah, I mean, Cortland is like, it's kind of crazy because we're this medium-sized institution, this small town located in Central New York, but yet, we're known nationally. And I say that because it's funny, like when my wife and I, when we travel or anywhere I go, like if I go to California, if I'm in Myrtle Beach or anywhere I go, I wear like a Cortland hat or a shirt, and it never fails. Like I'll have someone in the airport come up to me, "Oh my gosh, Cortland, SUNY Cortland." And they're able to tell me a story right away. "Oh my God, da, 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 da." Like, I can be in like Maine or Massachusetts or, Oregon. I have a Cortland. "Oh my gosh, SUNY Cortland." And that's just a testament to, what we are as a culture, as a team, overall as a program, as an athletics, as a whole. But it starts from, again, our leader, Mike Ertz, who's a Cortland grad. He does a really, really good job of making sure that, our student athletes have all the resources to be successful. Our head coaches have all the resources to allow us to be successful as student athletes and assistant coaches. You're talking about an institution that's very prideful on athletics and competing. We have over, 125 national titles between team and individual. We have Division I facilities, and I'm talking, I talked about the $300 million being invested into our facilities, but that's just to show you that we're invested in giving our student athletes, the best situation that they can possibly have. You're talking about a campus where almost every team on our campus is competing for a conference title. Even some of our teams on our campus are automatically competing for national titles year in and year out. Our baseball team and our women's lacrosse team both won national titles in 2015, and our baseball team, has been a couple runs away from getting back to the World Series. A couple of years ago, we've had every single spring team host the SUNYAC title, so you can just imagine what this campus looked like in the spring.
Yeah.
So it's you think of athletics, you think of New York, Cortland automatically rings the bell, just because of the way we carry ourselves, nationally. Across the state. And again, there's good people within our department. And we really, really pride ourselves on, competing to the highest stage and kind of, being prideful in that athletic excellence. We've been fortunate enough to hold the DIII Clinic. Shout out to Coach Russo, who's been a part of that, and Coach Rose over at Washingtonville. So we've been fortunate enough to hold the DIII Clinic every single fall. Unfortunately, with COVID, we won't be hosting it this year, but it allows us to bring over 250 high school coaches across the state of New York to our campus, to have the ability to network and connect with other coaches, as well as to meet other coaches from higher levels, to kind of see some drill work and kind of learn things to how to make their program better. And it also helps recruiting, because now we get these high school coaches on our campus. They're looking at our facilities and allow us to kind of network with them and talk about some players that they may have in their program. But really overall, I mean, our athletic as a whole, our department, our motto is one team, one family. And that's really what it is. You're talking over 600 student athletes looking out for one another, within the campus community, on campus. We all support one another regarding our home games. So we are one team, one family as a whole. But we're fortunate, man. We're spoiled, and our guys don't know this, but we're spoiled at the Division III level. I mean, we have full-time strength and conditioning coaches that are working with our athletes throughout the week and throughout the preseason and postseason. We have an athletic-only weight room. We have 2 athletic-only weight rooms and a weight room for rehabilitation for our athletic trainers. We're super spoiled here. And again, our facilities are Division I top notch. So, you know, it's really a good situation to be in. And I'm super fortunate and lucky to be a part of such a prestigious institution.
For sure. And something about Bitterbaum too. I mean, he makes it to everything. He makes it to basketball games just as often as he makes it to gymnastic meets and all that.
Oh my gosh, hockey. I mean, we've been on the road and we look up in the stands and we see President Bitterbaum there. So, you know, and you know, we're not as successful without, you know, leadership from the top. And that's him. That's him. I mean, he writes letters of recommendation for our guys. You know, he comes to our end of the year meetings. He comes to our beginning of the year parent luncheons. He's a real special part of our program. And you know, Cortland wouldn't be anywhere where we are today without him. So, you know, really
crazy thing is he studied ornithology. Like he was a bird guy, and that's how he remembers people's names. It's the craziest memory trick ever. But let's talk real quick about just a little bit about competition. We'll move on to the next spot. So there's a story, you know, Lusk Fieldhouse is kind of like the lab for SUNY Cortland basketball. It's just, you know, where the work gets put in, a lot of the preseason stuff, a lot of the conditioning that we all hate waking up for. So there was a D2 transfer that was, you know, this was back when you were a player. This D2 transfer came in. He was cooking his first couple games. And the way that Cortland pickup works is there's a winner's court and there's a loser's court. So if you lose, you go to that court and you wait to play. And so he was on the winner's court, and he was winning until he played your team. And you guarded him, and he lost. And after the game, you know, he was laughing, like didn't really seem too upset by it. And someone was like, yo, well, you just got cooked. Like, why? Like, he just shut you down. Like, why are you laughing? And he's like, y'all take pickup too seriously. And I heard that you and G went off, and you know, you're like, what you mean too seriously? Like, we the defending SUNYAC champs, we got a target on our backs, all that stuff. And you know, talk about the intensity and how that, you know, even off season stuff, even the pickup game, that's not a game.
Man. So, you know, again, you know, you're not successful unless you put the work in. And for us, you know, any time we get a chance to step on the court to get better, you know, no ands, ifs, or buts about it. You got to get better. You got to compete. You know, there's be some days where you're not, you know, playing how you want to, but you got to compete. And we're fortunate enough, again, right? Full-time strength coach in the preseason. Our guys are playing pickup every single day. We got the study halls. We have, you know, morning conditioning, things of that nature. So, you know, we take things serious. So, you know, it's funny, you know, when you bring that up, I kind of forgot about that moment. But yeah, you know, D2 transfer, we're coming off an NCAA tournament win previous year. So this is my senior year now. Garen and I, we're seniors. Kev, we're seniors. And, you know, we get this kid who transfer in, and, you know, everyone that transfers down, so a D2 to D3, they automatically assume that, you know, things will be handed to them and things of that nature. But, you know, that's not how we rock here, and that's not how we roll. So, you know, I guarded them, and, you know, I am who I am. You know, I was talking shit and, you know, playing them physical and, you know, this and that and the third. So, you know, yeah, we really let them have it. You know, we let them have it. We say, listen, that was like the first week, like a pickups too. So, you know, and it's always important, especially as us as seniors, like to set the tone. Like, you got to set the tone from day one. And he lost, and he said, well, you guys, it's only pickup. You're going too hard. And yeah, we let him have it, man. We let him know, like, listen, in this program, there's no such thing as too hard, and it's just pickup. Like, we take this thing serious. I mean, guys, we start playing at 4:00. You usually get out of class at 3:50. I mean, you're sprinting. You're bringing your gear with you to class because you don't want to be late to get picked up first. So we kind of let him have it, and, you know, it is what it is. You know, he ended up leaving, you know, whatever. But it was just to kind of show you, we do take things serious here. Our preseasons are very rigorous with, you know, pickup and study hall and lifting and conditioning, and you know, we don't mess around. But again, you need those things, and you need to set the tone and kind of build a culture early, because it benefits you in the long run when you get to February and March.
For sure. So Spain graduated from Cortland in 1983 and took over, I believe, in 1996 or somewhere around there. The assistants he's hired, you know, you, Hef, Worm, at Stasiak mainly were players or managers in the program. Alumni like Frank and Cam still live in the area and are involved. Talk about the importance of keeping it in the family to carry on the tradition.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, we talk about, right, that quote unquote, that brotherhood, that family. Um, I think it's real easy to have guys on your staff that you can trust and that are loyal and that knows the system and that knows what it takes to be a Red Dragon and knows the culture and knows what's expected, right? So I think that's important for Span and again the way he runs his program. So it's so easy for him to kind of hire his former players because they've been through it. They understand the tryout process. They understand what it takes to win in the SUNYAC. They understand that, you got to look out after your players and kind of things that you got to do to be successful, but not only on the court, but off the court. So I think it's real easy for him to hire former players. And it's not like he's hiring every former player. So like he knows who's going to be good in specific roles. He knows who's going to be good on his staff. And he also is giving guys an opportunity to kind of, learn and kind of maybe do something that they probably didn't see themselves doing. So he's always trying to set people up to be good educators and teachers within the community and kind of give back to the students and younger generation. And that's what Cortland's about. So real quick, ready? Mike Ertz, athletic director at Cortland grad. Tom Cranfield, I believe associate athletic director at Cortland grad. Jacqueline Lawrence, I believe assistant AD at Cortland grad. Coach Spanbauer, head men's basketball coach, Cortland grad. Dan McNeil, who graduated, who retired last year, Cortland grad. Steve Axtell, head coach of our men's soccer team, Cortland grad. Our strength and conditioning coaches, Cortland grads. If you want to go to admissions, we're even talking about admissions. Our VP of enrollment, our boss director in admissions, Cortland grad. We also have a couple of our admissions counselors, all Cortland grad. So, you're talking about people that work for this institution that have been through the rigors of being a college student on this campus, who is very prideful and enthusiastic about giving back to our campus. So, I think that's why we are able to grow as an institution, because you have people that are in higher roles that all put blood, sweat, and tears into their athletic careers or being a student on campus. So, a lot of what we do is keeping things in the family.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of Cortland alumni coaching right now. Serge is at Maurice, Stasiak's at Colgate. Eamon is at Bryant, actually just got upgraded to assistant coach yesterday.
Absolutely.
Shane Martinez at Palisades Elite and Hoop Firm. Nikki Bonera at Out Hustle. Blair at UB. Coop at LMC. Jesse started his own program, Level Up Long Island. And then, even in the video department in photo, our homegirl, Erin Lacasio, doing her thing with EDL. Jesse, Visuals by Jesse's been cooking with some video. I haven't even met the dude, and I've talked to him a couple of times about what he puts together, and Supreme Graphics, Ross, doing some of the commit graphics and everything. We're able to stay in the family and just because this is what our family's doing. It's really cool to see that for sure. Let's talk about all of the hats that you wear as a Division III assistant, how your roles and responsibilities have evolved over the years.
Yeah. So, Division III, it's, you're basically, you got to do everything. Obviously once you get higher up, you have, specific coaches and dobos and assistants that kind of have different responsibilities, throughout the program and the logistics of the program throughout the year. But, as an assistant, we're working with our boss and Tom Spanbauer and really helping with all aspects of the games. And, you're ordering food, you're helping with scheduling, you're running study halls, you're making sure the guys are taken care of. You're helping out with the academic side of things, even though we're fortunate enough to have a full-time academic director, support staff for athletics, and every athletic team is given an academic advisor. But, as assistants, we're helping out with scheduling, financial aid, res life and housing, but also, player development and, so we do a lot, man. We do a lot, but, I don't mind it. Again, I'm a grinder. I love what I do. It's, you got to do it all in order to be successful. You don't only just have to do it. You got to do it to the best of your abilities. So it's awesome to kind of learn everything about programs and fundraising and scheduling and hotels and ordering food, but also the academic side of things of making sure guys are above 12 credits or taking 15 credits and making sure that scheduling is working around practice times and just also making sure that, these kids on your campus, your players are happy and, they love the fact that they're here and, their families are okay. They're doing well in their classes. They're doing well mentally, physically. So we wear a lot of hats, and I'm super proud to kind of have made the decision to coach at the Division III level. I do have a lot of friends at the Division I level, and I was actually talking to one of my friends a couple of weeks ago who's at Boston University, and he said he misses the Division III level because it doesn't allow you to really get as personal with your guys, right? He said at the Division I level, not to say you don't build that relationship, but you're dealing with so many other people and things of that nature. So, I love our level, and I think it's a great level for guys to grow and still compete.
Yep. And to be able to focus on their academics too while they're getting there, because a lot of the guys aren't playing in the NBA, even though we do have guys go overseas. Talk about an area of coaching that you've improved the most in, scheduling, communicating, networking, recruiting, academics. Kind of where have you seen the most growth yourself?
Yeah, so I think from year one going on to year 7, I think I've grown tremendously in a lot of different aspects and facets of the game. But I think my biggest thing that, a portion of the game that I've grown in a lot better at is like the offensive side of the game. You're talking about my boss, who I think is probably one of the best coaches in the country, drawing up, ATOs and situational things. And I mean, this guy, like I've been with him so long, Aaron, that, I'm out to dinner with my wife and, I can just be eating and I'll take a salt and pepper shaker. And I'm like, I just thought about this. Like, what if we have this guy set this down screen and this guy cuts and like, that's how I'm thinking now. And I never used to be like that. As a player, I knew I was a big defensive guy, big energy guy. So I knew that was kind of going to translate to my coaching, and I still take pride in that and being that defensive guy. And but the offensive side, I think I've grown tremendously, and being able to be on the floor and draw things up on the board and show guys what they're doing wrong. So I think that's where I've grown tremendously. And then scouting kind of goes hand in hand with defense. So I kind of took that full on from the jump. Like I'm watching film every day, all night. Like I know teams' plays, tendencies. Like, so, as coaches, you gotta put your plays in the best possible situation and be successful. So, if we don't do what we have to do regarding the scouting, then, we're not doing, justice for our players. So, but to answer your question, I think,
just real quick on the scouting, is it more important for you to know their tendencies, like what type of action they're looking to run in a certain situation, or is it better to know the actual play?
Really for us within our program, I know everyone does things different. Coach Spanbauer, and our offense, he believes that we guard every single cut, every single action within our own offense. So flare screens, cross screens, back screens. So our guys have to learn how to hedge and hold, jump to the ball, switch, things of that nature. So, our scouting is really, really built on tendencies. If a team runs a specific action, 70% of the time, and this is what they're getting a lot of their buckets out of, then we'll make sure that our guys know that. But, it's really, who can you play off of? Who's a play to drive guy? Like, who's not shooting? Hey, when this guy dribble right hand, he's coming back spinning for his left. Yeah. It's a lot of the tendencies and how to guard individually, but it's big. If teams score on you out of bounds, that's huge. So we make sure if a team runs a really good out of bounds play that they score a lot off of. We're making sure our guys understand, how to defend that, but it is more of tendencies.
Okay. That growth area. Sorry, I got you off track.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, that's kind of where I've learned and where I've grown in as a coach is to kind of be able to draw up and kind of organize guys on the court and kind of my on court. And again, that's to my boss, Coach Spanbauer allowed me to grow as a coach and do a little bit more every single year with on the court and making sure running drills and things of that nature.
Got you. So a big part of your success as a college coach are your connections with the right people in the right areas. Talk about what went into creating, those relationships and building on the connections that you already had as an assistant coach.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first got into this game of coaching, we talked about Serge a lot, kind of really being a mentor to me. And, he always talked about is that you always got to keep it real. You got to be genuine. And you have to build authentic relationships. Like, meaning, I'm not going to text you or call you just because you have a kid or I heard you have a kid. I'm going to text you or call you to, how was Thanksgiving? How's your family? How was the school year? A lot of the coaches that I'm working with are PE teachers. So, that's really, I think that has been huge for us. And I don't sugarcoat anything within our recruiting. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you what it is or what it will be. I'll never promise a kid anything. I'm going to tell you the opportunities that you may have.
Yeah.
And I think when you start to, when coaches start to send you kids and those kids are successful, not only on the court, but in the classroom, and they graduate, you start to build that relationship and that trust. So it's so easy for a coach to pick up the phone and say, hey, Coach Mo, hey, I got a kid for you who I think will be successful at Cortland. And Aaron, I'm be honest, everyone has a kid. Like, everyone thinks they have a kid, right, that could play for you and things of that nature. But, really the connections and the networking is really built off, like I said, with Serge. You got to be authentic and you got to be real. And especially nowadays, kids know when you're being fake, and if you're lying, it never looks good. So, I think I was able to build relationships, and the name speaks for itself. Again, I mentioned earlier, Cortland is a national household name. So everyone knows about Cortland. Everyone knows about the academic rigor, the athletic excellence, and kind of the way we do things over here. So it's not too hard to kind of really, I guess, recruit Cortland. I always feel like if I can get a kid to campus, I have a really good shot of landing them. But building those relationships over time, it just comes to being real and authentic. And I think coaches trust the fact that if I send a kid to Coach Mo in Cortland, I know that Coach Mo is going to look out for my kid. Same thing with parents. I think Division III is more about selling parents than kids, because they're the ones that paying. Parents know I build relationships a lot more even with parents. They know if Coach Mo's going to look after my son. My son is going to Cortland and he's 4 or 5 hours away. I know that my son can call Coach Mo and he's going to be there for him. So that's kind of how that have gone over the past couple of years. And I'm going to continue to build relationships with coaches. And, a lot of people don't know who I am in the coaching community because, I wasn't a coach that had this story of sleeping in my car and things of that nature. I was fortunate enough to have a full-time job once I graduated, in admission. So I've been a full-time employee on this campus for about 6 years now, but just been able to still coach. So I am busy, but I'm able to make it work.
Yeah, for sure. Just build a follow-up off of that, when it comes to the situation where you're not going to recruit a kid anymore, or a coach hits you up about a kid that you're not interested in taking, maybe because you got someone in his spot. Kind of what does that conversation look like as far as, I just don't think this is going to be a good fit.
Yeah, and again, right, Aaron, I talk about honesty. Hey, listen, man, I don't think this kid's a good fit for Cortland, X, Y, and Z, but I know a coach over here where I think this kid may have a chance to be successful.
Okay.
I built a lot of relationships and friends in the coaching community, so we all look out for one another, even if it's in our league and we're fierce competitors, or if it's outside the league, but if I know a kid, or if I see a kid, or if a coach contacts me about a kid that I feel may not be a good fit for Cortland, but may be a good fit for another institution, and I have a connection with that coach, I'm going to reach out, or I'm going to tell that coach, hey, you should reach out to this coach. But again, it's not setting kids up to not be successful, right? So I'm not going to say, if you call me and you say, hey, Mo, I got a kid, and then if I feel like they won't be successful at Cortland, or it's not going to work, I'm not going to say, okay, thank you, like, let's get this kid to Cortland, right? Because now this kid's come to Cortland, this kid's not successful, and, you look at me, and so you just got to be real, and you got to keep it real, and, it's either this kid's a good fit or he's not. And that's just the real part about it. And coaches, they know, like, they're honest, they understand it, especially the ones that has been in the game long enough.
Yeah. What's the piece of advice that you received that has carried you to this day?
I know Serge is getting a lot of shout outs right now, but
That's fine.
that's my guy though. But all right. So two things. He always preaches closed mouths don't get fed. And it's funny when you text me that the other day, that's the first thing I thought of. But also again, like no matter what, don't change. Like be who you are. And I don't think I've ever changed. I've grown in the profession in a lot of different areas, but I am who I am. I'm an energetic, I'm an enthusiastic, I'm passionate. I'm going to give you 100% every single day. I'm never going to change who I am. And again, that's something that, that was advice given to me once I started in this profession. I'm going to take it with me to the grave, and you can apply that to anything within life.
Yep. What's a player accomplishment under you as a coach, or a team accomplishment, like an impact you've had that has meant the most to you?
All right. So I have a lot, but I'll say one. This kid, former player of mine, of ours within our program, Karel Joseph.
Man.
Rel, big Haiti man. He's real special to our program because of his situation. You're talking about a kid that came from Haiti to the United States and was only in the States for a couple of years. And, he played soccer in Haiti and started playing basketball probably a lot later than even I have, or a little bit sooner than I did. We're talking about connections. His guidance counselor, who was a Cortland grad, contacted us about him, right? So we were able to get him into Cortland. And, when you're coming from certain cultures, his parents wanted him to come to the States to be successful so he can help give back and kind of help support his family. So he came to Cortland and, right off the bat, he was like a physics engineer major. And it was just like craziness, right? So, we had to fine tune them things, and, he was real raw basketball wise, but to see him, we put a lot of work together. I don't know if people know, man, we put a lot of work in the gym together, and to kind of see him grow from where he was his freshman year to his sophomore year, winning SUNYAC MVP and helping that 2016 team go to the second round of the national tournament, man, his accomplishments, and not only basketball, man, I damn near cried watching him walk across that stage and getting his degree and being able to see his family come from Haiti and to come to our campus and kind of take pictures and kind of see everything unfold and see all the hard work and the blood, sweat, and tears pay off. So, Karel and I, we've had our fights, we've had our battles, but, I think he might be I guess if you want to say, and there's a lot of players. I can go on and on about a lot of players, Brendan Fitzpatrick, Nicky Bonera, Shane Martinez. Like there are a lot of guys that kind of took their bumps and bruises and turned out to have really good careers. But, Karel is one that really sticks out in my mind because he was able, again, to accomplish things off the court and on the court. And you're talking about a kid who sacrificed his entire summer to stay in Cortland, to work on our campus, to be able to be in the gym 24/7, to lift 24/7. So Karel Joseph is the one that comes to mind.
He's unfortunately a Duke fan, so we got to pray for him there.
He is, unfortunately. He is a Duke guy. But yeah, no, that's my guy.
He, his freshman year was my senior year. And so to see him go from the point where I could guard him in the post to winning the SUNYAC
MVP, like
and shooting the mess out the ball on the way. So yeah,
he went from coming to Cortland, setting illegal screens and rebounding to making 6 to 8 threes in a game and being able to run the floor and block shots. And so he had some tremendous growth, man. So
I remember in the alumni game at the beginning of the year, the red-white game or whatever it's called. I remember he threw down a dunk, and in coach's office after that, Jesse looked at coach and was like, "That was a D1 dunk." Like it's great.
No, his athleticism, he was always through the roof with it. But
wild, yeah. Let's talk real quick about a story I heard about Blue Mountain. As a freshman, you guys went up there. And, you're walking up the mountain and a player who will remain unnamed thought that he saw a wolf. And the whole team went sliding down the mountain. Talk about taking trips that the program arranges each year to give the players more exposure.
Yeah, so again, we always talk about our guys being spoiled. We're fortunate enough as an institution to own an outdoor educational facility in the Adirondacks called Racket Lake. It's about 2.5 to 3 hours away from here. So usually every year, maybe every other year, but we like to take our guys and get them away from campus once we have our team. And we take them to the Adirondack. You know, we get a lot of guys, especially for our downstate guys who've never been like in the woods or hiking and sleeping in cabins and things of that nature. So it's always good to get away from campus and get away from all the noise and to kind of go somewhere where at night you see all the stars and, you know, there's no cell phone service. So guys aren't on their phone.
There's no cell phone service out there.
So guys aren't on texting and Snapchatting. So it really forces you to get out your comfort zone and build that relationship. So we take our guys up there. But my freshman year, we went up there, and it was awesome, man. Like, we were able to hike Blue Mountain, which was crazy. I'd never hiked a mountain before. It was snowing. You know, we had guys in sweats and sneakers. We had guys sliding down the mountains. One of our guys thought he saw a wolf. We had coaches. It was crazy, man. But it really helped us, man. Like, because going into that retreat, like Jerm and I, like, that's my guy. But I thought, like, for some reason, like Jerm and I didn't click, you know, off the bat. But I mean, when we got to Racket Lake, I mean, we stayed up till like 7 a.m, just talking, getting to know one another, just talking. And I think, that trip really set the tone for that 2013 SUNYAC title. Like, people don't know that. Like, it's retreats like that really help programs be successful and help build culture. So, you know, again, very, very thankful and fortunate to have that outdoor educational facility and for Coach Spanbauer to making that commitment. And shout out to all the alumni and for them to help donate and fund trips like that for us throughout the year. So, you know, that's a great trip for us. And we have a really, really good we do keep track of our win percentage of the teams that go to Racket Lake. So it's little things like that. Like, we have a really, really good high percentage, you know, winning and typically really good seasons when we go up to Racket Lake.
Got you. Talk about the current team and kind of your goals for next season.
Yeah, so, you know, we graduated a couple of seniors last year, and Brendan Fitzpatrick, Ender Gonzalez, Ryan Schmadel, and JJ Johnson, all 4 great guys, great leaders, great contributors to our program. But we also bring back a lot. You know, Austin Grunder, who, you know, I believe should have been an All-American, who's a phenomenal talent. Eric Edwards, who's a grown man on the court and literally. That's my guy, Uncle Ick. But we also have a guy in Ben Walters who kind of I seen come through the rigors of the program and build his take his game to another level. Yep. He actually decided to come back and do a grad year with us. He was going to leave the program and go to Buffalo, but he said, you know what, I got one more year. I'm going to do my graduate work in exercise science. So we got Ben coming back. So we basically returned 4 starters. And then we've had some young guys who were able to learn and kind of see some things. And I think that should be able to take the next step and grow. We always believe your biggest jump should be from your freshman year to your sophomore year. So we're excited. You know, we have team group chats where I'm in, and, you know, I've been able to keep in contact with guys over the summer just to making sure, even with COVID, that they're doing something. So expectations, you know, something that Coach Spanbauer has instilled in me, and it's something that we do. We don't set long-term goals and long-term expectations early on. We kind of see how the season's going in the fall, and we set short-term goals for the fall semester. But I think we have an opportunity to be another special team. I think with Eric and Austin, you know, coming back and spearheading our front court. You know, we had a guy in Ricardo Dominguez who was a point guard from Our Savior Lutheran in the Bronx, who actually got the medical red shirt last year. I think he can be a special player. He's got to take some leaps and growths and strides in certain areas of his game. But, you know, he started the year last year at the point for us, but, you know, he ended up only playing 3 games for us. Isaiah Preston at the point guard position played a little bit for us as a setup guy, but he's tough. He's gritty. You know, we got guys like Jake DeSanto who shoots lights out. AJ Lawton. I mean, we got some guys coming back, which, you know, again, but it all depends on what they did over the summer, and the work they put in. I think we brought in a decent freshman class, and I think we got some guys that can help and compete and scratch out some minutes as freshmen and push some of the upperclassmen. So I'm super excited. But not only from the skill set, I think we have a bunch of great kids. Like, just personality wise, like we got different types of personalities within our program. And, I think we got a really good group moving forward. So hopefully everything works out with this COVID thing and we're able to step on the court and kind of really see what we got moving forward. But I am very, very excited.
Yep, absolutely. Talk about the offensive. And so a lot of freshmen struggle to remember offensive sets. They talk about coaching them through that and simplifying things when necessary, and just talk about Cortland's offensive and defensive kind of principles.
Yeah, absolutely. So we run a lot of 2-guard stuff. People know when you see Cortland, a lot of staggered screens, lot of opportunities for guys to shoot threes. But we also, I believe between us and Oswego, we probably have the most comprehensive offensive sets within our conference. We have a lot of plays, a lot of wrinkle cuts. We just, Coach, again, I mentioned Coach Spanbauer is a genius, man. Like he's always thinking the game offensively. How can we put guys in positions to be successful? And we're going to utilize our strengths. So, people always ask, like, what kind of system do you have? And it really changes year by year. It all depends on our personnel. Back in the day when we had guys like Kev and Dan Sternkov, we were running a lot of cross screens and diagonal screens to get them on the block. We haven't really had that the last couple of years. So now we're putting guys like Austin and Eric who can win their matchup and bigger guys, on elbows and kind of giving them some room to grow or some space to kind of attack the paint. So, but we also, we love our staggered screen action. We love running shooters off different screens and misdirection things. So it can be a lot, but I think we do a really good job in our practice of breaking down our sets. Our pre-practice shooting is always a portion of our offense. So before we even implement a set, we're going to do pre-practice shooting in the beginning of practice, and then we'll introduce that set. So then we're able to tell our guys, hey, listen, remember we started practice doing these shots? This is where it comes into play within the offense. So now guys are like, oh, I get it. Yeah. But even so, like during water breaks, we're getting with our guys, we bring clipboards and the boards into practice and showing guys certain things. And after practice, guys stay after. We have film sessions during the day. Again, I work full-time in admissions, so I'm up in Miller Building throughout the day, but I have guys come through my office. We'll watch film. I'll help guys out. Same thing with our other assistants that are in Park Center throughout the day. So I think we do a really good job making sure our guys are where they need to be offensively. And then defensively, we kind of do a little bit of everything. We kind of struggled a little bit over the last couple of years keeping the ball in front. So, we've been a little bit more heavy on the 2-3 part side of things, but Coach Spanbauer always says, like, you got to switch up your defense because you can't let a team get comfortable. So, we'll run a lot of 2-3, but we'll also run a lot of man. If we're playing against a team that we feel is very turnover prone and we want to get more possessions, we'll throw a lot of diamond at you. If we're playing teams that are pretty hard to guard, we'll run a 1-2-2 tempo press just to try to slow that clock down. We always feel like if you're going to start your offense under 18 seconds, we've won. And that allows us, if you're sitting in a 2-3 and a team has 24, 25 seconds, they're probably going to get a good shot. So, we run some diamond, we run some tempo press in our 1-2-2, some full court man-to-man. We do it all. So, when you're scouting us, you got to, I know everyone's probably thinking, like, keep them off the arc. We've been fortunate enough to break the 3-point record last year. We've had games this year where we've made 17, 18, 19 threes. So we do utilize the arc a lot. But we also have the ability to kind of put guys in situations to be successful and then keep teams honest when switching up our defense from time to time.
Yeah, absolutely. So last thing, we'll talk about the First Lady. So let's talk about your relationship with Lindsay. You guys are real life love and basketball movie. Talk about how that relationship started. Leading up to your proposal at her master's graduation, and how you're able to balance marriage and a coaching career, because I know that's difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, shout out to Lindsay. This thing wouldn't be going as smoothly as it's going as of right now without her. So, she's really the foundation and everything. She really holds it down. So, just to kind of keep it short, I'm a year older than her, so I met her. We're both from Long Island, about 25 minutes from each other. I met her at a pool party over the summer, going into her freshman year, my sophomore year, and we became friends. She's a fierce competitor. We're both like defensive minded players. So, our one-on-one battles were pretty intense,
She was
first year.
captain too, right?
She was a captain too. Yeah. No, she was a captain. I believe she was a 3-year captain. She might've been sophomore through senior year. So, great leader, fierce competitor, won a lot of ball games. So our friendship just grown from, being friends to kind of build a relationship to one another to kind of making it official. And, when I knew it was the right time in 2017, I'm always like extra, like I'm an extra guy. So like, I like to do things that are extra. So when I knew it was time to kind of really to tie it down and to really, when I realized that she was the one, I said, how can I make her proposal special? And like we always talked about being genuine and being good guys. I was easily able to email President Bitterbaum and say, hey, listen, I'm thinking about proposing to Lindsay. He knows me. He knows Lindsay. How can I make this special? I want to do it during graduation. He emails me back, hey, set up a time with my secretary, come up to my office. I came up to his office, and he really like kind of plugged it in and like, hey, I think you should do this. Let's do it during graduate. Let's do this. There's a hooding ceremony. You hood her. Then after you hood her, and I was like, all right, let's do it that way. So, she, during her graduate ceremony, I did her hooding. And then it was, at that time I got on one knee and during graduation and proposed. And then also special events, they were able to really help me as well, get it going. And they said that I believe that was the first time someone ever proposed on stage in Cortland history. So it was awesome, man. But, Lindsay and I, we've been together, 9 years now.
Yeah.
And it's been a special year every single year. So she's been able to help me grow as a person and as an individual. She also coached as well with Coach Mosier, who's at down in Texas now. So she coached for a couple of years with Mosier, and then she coached with Coach Brooks. Shout out to Coach JC Brooks, who finished her second year last year, who took our women's team to a new level. So she was able to coach for a couple of years. So she understands the rigor of coaching, and it makes it easy. I try to keep my home. Like when I come home, I try to keep it just us, but it never works out. I'm always pissed off that I didn't get a recruit, or I'm always talking about this game, or, hey, I got to go watch film. So she gets it because she was a player and a coach, and it's very easy for me to do what I have to do at the best of my abilities because she understands that. So shout out to Lindsay, and, we're doing a lot of great things. We actually just bought our first house and made the commitment to be in Cortland. So we actually just closed on our first house last week. And so as soon as I get off this interview, I'm going to go paint and move some furniture and do some things. We also got a dog. We just bought a Frenchie when this pandemic started, Lola. So we're starting to build some things, and, I'm just trying to help set up, make sure that, when I have a family, that they're set up to be successful, and to kind of give them the resources that I never had growing up. So it's been awesome to have Lindsay by my side, and I think we're a great team together.
Absolutely. Did you see that proposal coming? She knows you really well.
She had no idea. No, she had no idea. No idea.
Man, that's
no idea. She actually didn't want me to be on stage during the hooding. She's like, why do you have to be extra? No one else has, because it's usually a faculty member or a staff or a professor. She's like, no. So we basically argued like 4 days leading up to that. And then we actually had a little argument in the gym. And I said, I'm doing it. And, so it all worked out, and it was awesome. Had some family and friends come up for it. And,
cool.
We had a great wedding, and we're talking about family. We had probably 175 people at our wedding, and probably 60% of them were Cortland alum. President Bitterbaum and his wife was at my wedding. People within our athletic administration, my admissions office, alumni, coaches. So it was a really big Cortland wedding, man, and it's awesome. So that's why I tell people, not a 4-year decision, it's a 40-year decision. You're going to be a part of a Cortland family, not after you graduate, but for years down the road.
Yeah, Aaron. When I was talking to Aaron Lacasio, she was saying that Mo and Lindsay are Cortland. He's Mr. Cortland and she's Mrs. Cortland. So to close it out, I wanted to share a story from her. Me and Aaron were pretty close. She was the women's basketball manager at the time when I was a men's basketball manager. Yep. So all the technical glitches with the DVD duplicator, all the struggles with filming, we kind of shared the struggle.
And now we got synergy, so it's so easy.
I'm mad about that. I wish we had that. Anyways,
yeah.
So sometimes I was able to finish filming a game for her so she could do what she loved, which was photography. And she said when she was introduced as a manager the first day to the women's team, she said the first thing she remembered was the whole team was there, and she was like, Lindsay was right in the middle and was waving at her like she was a lifelong friend, and she's like, hey, she was she's always just been really supportive, and they got really close during her time at Cortland. And when the men's team won the SUNYACs in 2013, she snapped a great photo of you and you hugging Lindsay in the stands, capturing that moment and being able to be at your wedding, shooting secondary, what was really important to her. Just the transition, like you said, it's a 40-year decision. And it was so important to her. So talk about how Cortland is a special place, and talk about the lasting relationships we've made there.
Yeah, man. I mean, you basically hit that nail on the head. You're talking about a special place full of special people. And that really sums it up. We're not this huge institution with big names like UNC and Duke and UCLA, but, we're a real tight-knit family located in Central New York. And, I think we're a prideful institution that wants the best for our students and student athletes, and for everyone to get an overall great college experience. Everyone is looking out for one another. Everyone wants people to be successful on our campus and within the community. People are always giving back to Cortland. Alumni are always reaching out with job opportunities and internship opportunities. We already talked about how things are kept in the family and our athletic department and our admissions department and other departments on campus, how, the leaders of those departments were once undergraduate students and graduate students on our campus. So, again, I bleed red and white, and, I'd never doubt or regret my decision being a Red Dragon. My path was a little bit different from others, but, I think I love where I'm heading as a profession, as a professional, as a person, and career-wise. I think I've set myself up as a 28-year-old to kind of have breaking some barriers and kind of do some things and kind of help the younger generation and show people that with a lot of hard work and dedication and commitment, things can be done. And I'm just getting started, man. I'm excited for the future, and I'm gonna continue to build and work, and both my professions in coaching and admissions on a daily basis. But again, sum it up, man, Cortland's a special place full of special people. And being a Red Dragon is a special thing. And I'm just happy I made the decision to be a Red Dragon.
Absolutely. All right. This is great, man. Appreciate the time. Tell the people where they can find you on Instagram, social media, all that.
Yeah. So my Instagram account is Mo30. So it's like MOOEEE 30. Twitter account is MKearney92. You can email me, any coaches out there that might be listening to this, first name last name @cortland.edu. If you got any players, any recruits want to reach out, man, my door is open. So yeah. And again, Aaron, appreciate you, man. We talk about the connection, right? You doing what you're doing. We're talking about hoops and things of that nature, and being able to do things and just still, yeah, shout out to all the alumni that are out there doing some phenomenal things and able to send me players, and again, Shane and Hoop Fern and Palisade Elite, and Jesse and Level Up LI, and Nikki and Out Hustle Athletics and the Fox Lane program. Justin Coop, Zach Lyden, LMC Athletics. We got some alumni that are doing some phenomenal things. Shout out to the OGs, Big Frank, Claude, Frankie Franchise. I mean, it's a lot of people out there, man. So and again, this thing doesn't happen without the former Red Dragons, the current Red Dragons, and we're building for the future. So appreciate you, and I hope all is well, and take care, man. Stay in touch.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
Take care, Aaron.